trying to something else, but I'm not gonna be. So I'm gonna put this over here and give you an idea of what my plan was for today. I'm kind of off track now. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. But this is the quad I've been complaining about on Facebook today, all day, on the Butterfly group and a few other groups. And this is the second time I've built this quad, and it has not worked out for me at all. It looks great, but it doesn't fly for shit. And it's the Butterfly, it's the Helio Spring, and the, what is it, Hacko, I forgot the name of the ESC that I used. They don't go together. They don't go together well. I added a cap, but that did not solve the problem. The problem is that EMI is getting out of the ESC, and like somebody said in one of the forums, um, I forgot what they said. When you raise the voltage on here, it's more likely to put the EMI out there and cause a problem. The problem causes this thing to stop the motors mid-flight and just crash. No air mode. Air mode is on, but the issue is the motors will just shut down as if they seized, and it'll just crash. And the thing is, because the ESC is not shielded, and they put one of the components on the bottom of the flight controller instead of on the top. You can see it there, and it is collecting all that EMI and causing these issues. The only time it happens is when I go and push the stick full to the right, the yaw stick. You know, it doesn't matter where the throttle is. I'm mode 2, so I'm saying my left stick, right? Whenever I push it all the way to the right, like I just want to yaw to the right, that's all. And as far as I could tell, the stock Betaflight PIDs for Butterflight are similar to Betaflight, so it's not like something weird with the PIDs. No, it's around 800, between 800 and 1,000 circles per second, or however you say that. And it's the same PIDs I've had on, or rates, I'm sorry, rates, not PIDs. It's the same rates that I've had on other quads. So it's not the rates causing something to freak out. It's, from what I've been able to diagnose on the internet from searching and testing, is that it's the EMI from the ESC is causing this. So there's no other condition that causes it. You know, every other way that I'm using it, it works just fine. But that's a showstopper right there. You know, I thought maybe I could, I don't know, calibrate my controller or change the rates or something, and maybe I could, but it seems like whenever I would get to the end, and I had to get to the stop, so I could fly it as long as I didn't hit the stop, and nothing would happen. But as soon as I hit that stop, the motor stopped, and the fucking thing falls out of the air. So this is the Helio Spring flight controller. Second time I built it. The first time I built it, I had, it's not in arm's reach. I had a larger, I had a typical VTX that fits on the stack like any other thing in ESC or FC. But as you can see, I ran out of space between the top of the canopy and the VTX here in the back. So I shoehorned it in, but I was thinking maybe that was the problem, right? Maybe that was causing it. No, I rebuilt this fucking thing again, resoldered it, taped it, did everything I could to make it as bulletproof as possible, which was kind of stupid. You want to make sure that it flies good first. It is a risk to be building it and have it, you know, half naked, but I whatever. Um, so the second time I built this thing here, and still having this issue with the Helio Spring flight controller. And I've now narrowed it down. It wasn't the VTX being in a tight spot or anything like that. There's plenty of fucking space in this thing now. There's a VTX in there. It is taped to the top of the canopy on the inside. The receiver is taped to the top of the canopy on the inside. And obviously I did that so you can more easily see the numbers on the VTX and push the button to change the channel and frequency and shit. Uh, but yeah, everything I did, I put the capacitor on it. That didn't stop it. Nothing has stopped it. I put tape in there, like they said. Same shit. Now I could go buy better tape, I guess, but you know, this type of thing shouldn't happen. As far as I'm concerned, that's something that they should send a piece of copper tape in there with the package when you buy it, or they should recall the product. It's it's a failed product in my opinion. If it's that flawed that it can't it's not designed to deal with being in the environment that you're going to use it in, then what the fuck? So yeah, I'm going to take this thing apart again. I'm going to chuck the Helios Spring flight controller in the trash, or maybe sell it, and I'm going to replace the probably ESC as well because I got another stack. Well, let me think this through. I got another flight controller, so maybe I'll do that. But no, I chose this one because it didn't fit. It's a lot of wiring if it doesn't match up. I'm gonna look in my magic box of shit over here and see what I've got available, and I'm gonna make a decision. Like I said, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this one. First off, I'm gonna go back into Butterflight again and check the settings, see if I did anything wrong in the setup. That'll be like the 10th time I've done this in the last 48 hours. Uh, so I'm gonna check Butterflight one more time, make sure the orientation is right and everything is right. And after that, then I'll move to disassemble this beautiful quad and try again. And if I don't get it on the third try, because I've also had some slight vibration issues with this frame, it's with the frame itself, but I've not heard anybody else complain about that. I've only heard good things from other people about this frame. So I'm hoping I'll come up with something in my box of spare parts over there to do this. I've had luck with these motors, but not on this quad. Uh, but to me, these motors have proved themselves because I used them as replacements with bigger motors, actually, bigger in every sort of way. So I like the Sam Gooks okay. I haven't had any of the problems other people are talking about, and I put many hours on it. It was on my Batman, my HGLRC Batman 220. I broke one of the shafts on the Batman, and I put one of these Sam Gooks on there to replace the motor, and it kept up just fine. Now I finally got a real HDLRC Flame 2306 motor on there, and I honestly feel like it was probably psychological, but I honestly feel like it was flying faster when it had the mismatched fucking motor on it. So that's thing one. Now this thing has been flying okay up to a point, and the point is that somebody mentioned in the forum yesterday that these motors might be drawing too many amps in order to be successfully mated with this ESC right here. It might not work at all. And to my testing, I've seen that as long as I keep everything docile, and that was my complaint about the quad. It's too docile because of the motors that came on there, but I didn't really think about the ESC might be another bottleneck point where you just can't force it. You know, you can't force it to be any faster than it was designed to be. Um, so at this point, yeah, these are some of my favorite motors because they're so quiet and so smooth and so powerful. But I don't think I'm going to be able to match these up with this quad. So I'm going to put the fucking stock motors back on here. I got a full set of Luminaire motors over there that I bought in a panic, unfortunately, because the broken motor on the Batman, I wasn't thinking right. It was like 2 in the morning. I was like, man, I gotta have this quad back by tomorrow. And Justin from uh, Fly Now RC, our local, better than our local hobby shop. This guy, you know, I think I went to his house at like 2 or 3 in the morning. I'm sorry. I probably should have been. He knows how compulsive it is. He understands. Justin understands, and that separates him from all the other vendors and owners. Uh, you know, I'm I'm cool with the other hobby shop owners and employees too, but they just don't have the same breadth of knowledge and experience, and I don't. They're not addicted. They're okay. That's enough of that. But I appreciate what he did because I got 5 motors. Well, not I couldn't get them from anywhere else. It's like it's like his store was like 24 hours essentially. Um, so props to him and his store. Uh, it's in the East End of Richmond. I might as well shout him out. It's called FlyNowRC.com. That's a website where you can just go and order it. And if you live here, you know, I take the 288 expressway over there, and I get to his house quicker than if I drove through the city. So uh, it's pretty interesting development for me. I was trying to open a shop too, but now like damn, I'd hate to compete against this guy. But maybe he's a live sound guy too, and I do that. So it's not competition. It's friendly competition if nothing else. Uh, so this one, I'm gonna go ahead and give up, I guess, on my favorite motors. Take them off again, and because they were on another build that I crashed horribly. Ah, if I could have that back, it was the best quad I had all summer. And the this is how it came about. I bought 2 Real 5s. One of them was pretty much DOA out of the box. It wasn't. It was just a simple quality control mistake caused the flip of death from height. So from there, I had like 2 broken motors and a broken frame. Uh, and I think the VTX broke the antenna. Didn't lose any UARTs. But what I ended up doing was taking it out of the frame and rebuilding it as another quad, and I used these motors. And the frame was from Furry B 215 Pro or Pro or S or whatever. So it was a really good, strong frame. And man, I destroyed that thing. It was so fast. We're talking about a 6S capable stack that had motors. I think they weren't low kV motors. I think they're 2450. Um, they were big 2306 motors, and and this it was fast. The Furry Bee was fast, but it had quality control issues. And what that Fort X stack is fucking garbage, and that HD camera that they have is, man, that whole thing is just riddled with bugs and flaws and shit, and then the QC issues. So I can't recommend buying anything from Furby other than that VX140 3-inch quad, which has proven itself this test of time. I mean, I've sold like 5 of them, 5 that I've built, and you know they're the greatest quads. Easy to build, easy to repair. The parts, the stack's reliable. The VTX is powerful enough. Uh, the flight out of the box with the tune is real solid, and you just can't beat that. I don't have any now because I found HGLRC XJB 145 is much faster. You know, with the 3100 kV motors on the VX 140, speed wasn't its thing. Even with the most aggressive props I had on there, I'd say I might have gotten 60 miles an hour out of it. Whereas the XJB, even with the crippled stock props it comes with, will still go about 80 miles an hour out of the box. And the tune is better. And the XJB actually, with the one-piece frame, it handles a crash better. Amazingly, with my first XJB 145, it survived everything I threw at it, including I ran it into a curb trying to go through a gap, and I guess I was going about 60, and it just ran into the curb. The frame didn't break. Nothing broke. Nothing broke. The little sacrificial tips on the end of the frame, which this one doesn't have, uh, like this. That's the only part that got damaged in that. So that's the XJV 145. That beats the VX 140 hands down, or anything else that I have, including the Gep Sparrow. Um, I try to keep up, but there's some that I haven't tried out yet because it just costs too much damn money. And I don't take money because I see the corrosive effects of the conflict of interest that money is in a hobby and a passion. You know, they don't call it selling out for nothing. There's some there. You know, I'm not accusing anybody. I'm just saying that is that's why people worry about that kind of thing. It's true. It does have an influence on you. And I know personally, I was doing reviews for somebody and getting paid for it. And at the beginning, I was all high and mighty, like, yeah, but I'll, if it's bad product, I'll say it's a bad product. But after a while, then I was like kind of dependent on the money from them, and this, you know. So then it was like, and over time, it seemed like they sent me more crappy stuff. But then towards the end, they started sending me better drones. But the point is, when I did do this for money, it influenced my decisions. And you can say, "Oh, I'm not gonna let it influence," but if if the uh, if the choice is you either do this or they lose interest and start sending the emails to somebody else, and you don't get any more money, you're gonna think twice about it. You know, a lot of people will. Not everybody will, but a lot of people will. So now I just, if I'm doing review like those EV 200D goggles, I paid for those. They didn't send me those for free. Uh, Anything I got sent for free is long gone by now. Mostly it was like brushless, tiny whoop stuff like that. Mostly, I mean brushed stuff like that. I don't think I've ever reviewed anything that was over like $100 and some. Um, and like I said, I quit doing that altogether. Period. No more reviews for money at all. And I think that's the way people should try to do it, but you gotta eat though. So I'm gonna replace some motors on this B-Fight 220 and see if I can just get it back to where it was because now it's no fun to fly the damn thing. Uh, I gotta I gotta be so light on the throttle because if you do get to the voltage gets too high, it just totally desyncs and you crash. So blah. Dang, I can't wait to find a quad that can actually handle these motors to put them on there. And I got the stack for it. I don't have the frame for it, and I don't. This frame is good, but it's not like I would put my parts in here thinking, oh, this is a great place for them to be. There's a cage there. It works, but it, this is by no means a stellar frame in any way, a standout. It's just average, almost generic, and I don't really care how it looks. You know, one good thing it's got the a little bit of bulk there in case you crash, but right here it doesn't. There's different angles. I mean, I've had crashes where that would be the end of this motor just because of that, and I'm not sure if the benefits of the thinner arms is enough. It's not a speed demon, but the frame itself is what I'm talking about. A lot of space, not a lot of space on top, enough space in between the camera and the stack, no LEDs in the back. It's just, you know, it does it, it gets the job done, you know. And I don't like the fact that you have to put the battery strap under the ESCs. Fucking hate that, man. Do something for us, provide some way to put the battery strap that's going to be secure. If you put it under the ESCs, you're just risking damaging your ESCs. Anyway, and this rubber ducky VTX antenna is God. It is shit. It is terrible. Uh, but it's good for the bench and testing when you're just going line of sight, not going anywhere with these two. So this one's getting disassembled completely. If I'm unable to find any errors here in Betaflight. Butterfly. It's so annoying how people stake out claims over this settled science here. Anyway, let's see what we got. So, I was having a lot of issues with this part here. But this looks normal. This looks correct, right? You move the, you turn it, it turns, you turn, lift the right, lift the left, front, back. It seems to be accurately portraying, but at the same time, there's some lag and plenty, so many times, bad frames or whatever. It's like it just freezes up and doesn't do anything at all. So I'm gonna put it on a level surface and try calibrating it again. I can't even tell if that's level surface or not. There's nothing under it. It should be relatively level. I mean, how many of us make this perfectly level? But the image there looks crazy. And it didn't do anything, as far as I can tell. It didn't do anything to fix the issue. And I mean, it looks like I've got it mounted in there. If it's not perfectly flat, it's damn close. And look, when it's not moving, it's like it thinks that it's moving. It's oversensitive, or I don't know. The CPU load is 12%, so I could go into the configuration tab and change. It's at 16 and 8. I didn't put it at 32. I mean, this ESC in here is unknown quality. So the first thing I'm going to do is change the gyro update frequency to 4 kilohertz. I'm going to change the PID loop frequency to 2 kilohertz. I'm going to eliminate the maximum arm angle degrees. Just simplify everything. Anti-gravity, anti-gravity and air mode are both selected, and I'm going to deselect the D-shot beacon tone. All right. Let's get rid of this and go ahead and hit save and reboot. I do need to take the props off of this one here too. All right, so now we're at 4 and 2. D-shot 600 on there. And I'm wondering if the ESCs couldn't be that shitty, could they? I need to go down from D-shot 600 to D-shot 300 or 150 maybe. I don't know. Another thing I need to do is check my channel, make sure this shit is popping off like I think it is. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's see what they're selling here. Oh gosh. I'm not much into RC cars, man. That's like I was when I was a kid. Mavic 2, wow. Alright. Well, if it's not rated yet, I'm gonna go ahead, since I've gone ahead and started that part, I'm gonna go ahead and get a flight in here before the rainstorm hits. Because right now I don't have any indoor like brush tiny roofs or I don't have anything remotely like that. Let's see here. Screen, I need to raise my screen up a lot. Let's see. Maybe this one. Yeah, that'll do it. That's gotta be high enough. Definitely. Alright. So hopefully it doesn't fall down. Let's turn off Butterflight here. I've done the changes that I wanted to do. I've yawed the board 180 degrees because I had to put it in there that way. I've lowered the processing, so now CPU is around 12%. That should not be an issue. In the PID tuning tab, waiting for data, and this happens too a lot of times. It just stops working. So I'm glad that happened here on camera. I don't understand how, this is, it's not cutting edge. Nothing going on here is cutting edge. Not really. Okay, so this has failed, so I'm going to go ahead and just pull it out. I don't know what the fuck else to do. But, yeah, I'm done with Butterfly for a little while. I think it comes down to probably the computer that you have. Mine is just real bad. A really bad computer. It's not good for editing video. It's not good for anything, really. So, this is Black Activity.
All of a sudden I heard a big explosion.
I like to watch these shows, so bear with me. I hope I don't get a copyright violation for this, because it's just like background while I work. The first thing I'm going to do is take the props off of this one, and then I'm going to grab my quad that I'm going to fly. And I wanted to make an announcement too, or a request. I don't know what you call this, but I got a quad over there, and I want to make a contest so that if the winner, if anybody can get this one in the corner over there flying, it's a very simple issue. I've only been in this hobby for a year. I still got a lot to learn. I'm trying to figure out. I think it's simply that I need to uninvert the UART. I think it might just be that simple, but it might not. Um, Hell, it's not that simple because this is an F3 board. I'm sorry for even mentioning that, because obviously, if it's an F3 board, not an F4, it doesn't have the invert issue at all. And I'm pretty sure that the Holy Bro Shuriken 250 has an SP Racing F3 flight controller, so I was mistaken. I want to double check that to make sure, but thinking about when it was released and remember what I can of the paperwork, I'm pretty sure it's an F3, not an F4. But the issue is that I've had no luck in getting getting the thing started.
A horrifying scene.
Let's put some music on in the background. I think that's a good idea. Hearing this guy's voice. Let's see. Oh, this will work. So, I forgot what I was talking about, but probably pissed off about my non-working quad over there, which is the Holy Road Shuriken 250, right? If you can help me, and we finally get this in the air, I will give you the other quad, the one I was singing the praises of before. This is what's left of it. Right? Let me just pick this one up. So, so, so this is the quad that I had this summer and was so fond of. That's what's left of it. It's missing a receiver because I took the receiver and put it in this one. This this one is a bind and fly, not a plug and play. It came set up with some old ass receiver in it. It could be that right there. My soldering is shit, as you see. This thing just, the hot lead just came out in my hands. But I know that's not the problem. I'm kind of surprised that that happened. But the point is, I've had this receiver plugged into this quad in UART3, and the light was on, so the receiver was getting power. It could be the uninvert thing, but like I said, I think this is an F3. So if that's the case, it's not that. Um, but yeah, this is the one I want to fix, and if you help me to fix that one, I will give you this one. I'll mail this one to you. And the issue with this one is that the original stock receiver was in there, and this was wired to the bind plug pin. I don't mind taking this cover off. I don't need to have that stupid little part working. But I'm pretty sure you just solder that to the edge of the bind pin on the thing, on the receiver, and it'll work the same way. But I'm not sure of that because the new bind button looks like this gold thing here, where the old bind button looked like a big silver thing. I don't think I have one in arm's reach. Definitely not. But oh no, there's one. So this was inside the quad right here. This was the receiver that came with it. This D-pinned. It looked like this, and it had that silver case bind button. You got to hold that down and put the battery in to get into bind mode. So I took this out. It was, just glued down to that sticky pad, and unsoldered, desoldered that, which was just sitting on that tab right there. Just that simple. And this one, now I put this in there, and it powers up. I gotta shut the door right quick. I'll be right back. These lights, those lights are hot as shit, man. Those incandescent lights that I have over my LED stage lights are hot as shit. You will not survive in here with those lights on. But yeah, this is my dream here, is to get this thing in the air, man. What is the fucking problem? I don't know. So, give me some ideas, please. I'm gonna solder this back right now before I put this away. This thing is brand new, never been flown because of that. And to give you a little bit of background, I'm not an idiot. In that same time, I've probably bound and flown and built and sold probably, I'd say maybe 60 quads in that period of a year. Probably around 60 total, including tiny whoops and GPS, birds, and camera birds, all that shit. So, yeah, this is the prize here. It doesn't come with a receiver, but and it it's like this. This was my real 5. At the beginning of the summer, it was my favorite quad. It was my beater quad. It's the one I practiced on and practiced new stuff on and learned on and crashed a lot. I mean, I crashed this thing a lot. One of the motors, as you can see, has an issue. I've got spares. The thing that I wanted to do was have all the same. I didn't want any motor mismatches, and I did. And I wanted the bolts, the black bolts that tighten to the left and all that. So that's what I got. It needs a new bell. Um, but it could possibly work itself out and be okay without doing anything. I've had that happen, but it also could burn itself out. But I'm willing to send you motors. I have 3 more motors just like this. You might end up having to take one of the motors. Hold on a second. Yeah, I'm busy, Dad. What up, yo? Is it important? I'll be back. What's that, man? Excellent. So, something. I forgot what I was talking about. Okay, so it was this. Yeah, I've got quite a few motors, and so I'll try to hook you up with that. But at the end of the day, you're getting a nice frame and a good stack, working camera. I'm not sure about the VTX, but again, I bought 2 real 5s. I'll send you the other one too. I feel like I bought 2 of these. I beat the hell out of them. I had all the fun I could possibly have with them. And this frame is not really suited for this generation of motors. Let me just be perfectly honest about that. This is the Lisam 215 frame. It's 3 millimeters instead of 4, and you'll notice it in a lot of ways. It's really frighteningly flexy, you know. So it is what it is. It's a cheap frame. The real 5 was $139 brand new. So you're getting a lot of bang for your buck. Very fast quad. Um, I think the ESCs are 30 amp and peak out at 35. It's got an Omnibus F4 flight controller, and the VTX goes up to 800 milliwatts. And it was the first quad that I owned that I felt brave enough to fly around the block here while sitting in the house. I do that shit all the time now, but this is the first one that I ever tried it and did it successfully with. Very smooth, very forgiving flyer with the stock tune that it comes with. Um, Came with the Pagoda. Pagoda's long gone, so you'll have to get your own antenna and your own receiver. But, for a little bit of brain work, it's not such a bad deal, and I'll pay shipping in the continental US, so you're getting this for nothing, just for your effort. A little bit of help me get this thing off the ground. To keep things fair and legit, and so I don't have to send out all my quads, just this one that I said here, I'll say like this. The first person to put the answer that I see and use, I'm not going to skip anybody, to correct the problems gets the quad. So you put your answer in there, and if you want the quad, put your zip code. If you don't want the quad, don't put your zip code. I just want to know ahead of time how much I'll be paying in shipping. So if you want to try it, let me know your zip. So next up, first up, turn on the soldering iron. Well, actually, no. I'm gonna get in a quick flight first before I solder anything. So this is going back into that quadcopter over there, and these props I'm gonna have to chuck. Putting the other motors back on a B-Fight. and they need some higher pitch props than these. Alrighty, so. Oh yeah, I'm waiting on a motor for this guy right here. It's taken them more than a month to ship these two motors. I wish I had, well, no, I got one CW, one CCW. And that is the reason why I fucking hate motors that use that archaic bullshit. There's no reason on God's green earth other than that's what's in the bin motors anymore. You know, I'm sure the supply is still there, so they're going to be here for a long time. They're still building them. Why? I don't know. To the right, it's a hardware store problem. When you got those counter-rotating or counter-spin, it's just an issue. Some people don't even know what you're talking about when you. I need nuts that tighten to the left. They're like, oh sure, right over there. No idea. So, waiting for one. I believe this is the counterclockwise motor, but I bought one of each just to be safe. And it's a month on this waiting. I need a part for this frame, but what I'm really thinking of doing is using a 3D printed canopy instead. You know, just get the standoffs, because this is the Darkmax 220 frame, and the way they designed the frame, it fits best in there with the 4-in-1 ESC, and above that, a big old honking flight controller with the VTX built in. Because on top of that, there's space, but there's certainly not enough space, just like the Frog frame. You're going to run into the same issue if you try to put 3 layers of the stack in there. So I'm thinking, maybe why don't I just get rid of the canopy altogether? It's a shit canopy anyway. Well, no, it's 2mm carbon fiber on the sides and 1mm on the top. Easy to break, you know. I had my Darkmax for a while before I took it apart. I never killed it. And I never really crashed it because it never got to the point where I trusted it to be doing too much crazy stuff. So to see this 1mm plate cracked is just a reminder that it's like, yeah, that's one place they cut corners. But the rest of the frame is good as day one, stiff and solid as day one, and ready to go. So I'm holding on to being able to use this in another build. I'm just going to need to figure out, you know, the trick too is how are you going to secure the canopy? You know, it's not that hard. But you could use the same thing that they did, but most things are not designed to be used like this. So that's why it's still sitting here, and I haven't put the other stack in there. So this is the box that I have that has the frames in it, and you got a Hawk 5 frame in there, but I'm missing one crucial part of it, and it's not that I didn't like the Hawk 5 frame, but I do hate this. You know, I do hate that. When there's not a third bolt or some special precautions taken, they're going to always be able to move a millimeter or so. I just hate it. And this is the frame from the XJB that I was saying was so strong. Like, that's a full speed crash, and it didn't touch the motors. Like, I got to finish using this quad, and the motors never got killed. I think I killed an ESC, and that was because I put some really high-pitched props on there. It's amazing. Like, that's the only thing I've done besides crash that kills ESCs. I've never shorted a board. I've never killed a motor that way. I'll put it that way, or an ESC. But definitely from putting higher-pitched props on there, do the math, you know. If you can't do the math, just be conservative. But yeah, this frame on a 3 inch, I gotta see, I gotta realize, like, yeah, it gets no tougher, you know. The VX 140 was good, but it wasn't a one piece frame. And at 3 inches, in my opinion, one piece is the strongest you're gonna get. Uh, I can't imagine what I'd have to do to make a 3 inch fast enough to crack this. I don't think it's possible. Anything's possible. But anyway, moving right along. This is, I'd say this is tougher than this, and this is a 5 inch. So, you know, the more you scale it up, the bigger you make it, the weaker this would be. So we've also, oh no, this is not a Hawk 5 frame. Sorry, that's a clone of another thing. This is the Hawk 5 frame. And they look kind of similar, but different angles. And the Hawk 5, I was slandering it, it has the thing right. It has 3 bolts going through each one. So they're not, these arms don't move, you know? And press bolts are such a nice touch. This is what makes the difference to a good frame and a just bullshit frame. Um, the piece I'm missing is that right there. And I found it. I hope I didn't lose it again, but that should be easy enough to replace, whatever. So yeah, this is the back. This is the front. And I've got a spare arm over there because it looks like I have delaminated one of the arms.
Lee,
Yes!
we are going to Rachel's 60th birthday party. That's Bernard's girlfriend.
Say hi to the camera. You're on my live recording. That's the easiest way to do it. So, this one is the Hawk 5. This one, the other one looks like the Hawk 5, but it's actually called the Hantu 5. And it's really not as good of a frame as I thought it was going to be. I've found that I can use it, but I gotta get a purpose-built stack for this, and it'll be worth it because I want to try out that Racer Stars all-in-one stack. And all-in-one, it is the ESC, it is the flight controller, all-in-one. The ESC and the flight controller, all-in-one. And then I'll go for some VTX03 or some light camera VTX solution, and I'm gonna have first it's slammed, or you can slam it even lower. I'm gonna slam it as low as I can get it, put a micro Sparrow in this bitch, and have a super light quad. This one is the, oh, it doesn't slide out like a butterfly knife, but okay. Yeah. Well, this one is the this is the real 5, yeah. Decent frame, but it's this one is dead. This is the 215 I crashed, and this frame is annihilated, but I keep the arms around. There's a couple of good pieces left in case I buy another one or come across another one that I can use some of the spare parts in. And then we got some canopies and more canopies and more canopies. And, oh wow, I've got an antenna in there. I didn't mean to leave that. Let's take that out of the frame. Gotta be careful doing this nonsense. Like I've been injured. Fucking with quadcopters, man. How does that happen? Injured? Yes, injured. Check it out. Look at that. That's a lifelong scar if I've ever seen one. War stories. Yeah, one time I was changing the prop on my toy quadcopter, and It just lit up and tore right into me. I was flabbergasted. So, those are our straps. I wonder if I should put on a mask before I open that. And from there, check this box out. This has spare arms, battery-sized heat shrink, LiPo size, pigtails, single luminaire spare, which is 2206. Hmm. $24.50. I should not have bought those motors. So far, I haven't even been able to find a frame that they'll fit in that I have. So they got some smaller motors. I think these came from a DYSL. These are the smallest motors I got. I think they're 06, 07 size, smaller than your fucking fingernail. There's 4 of them in a tiny little box like this. From there, got the rest of the luminaires. Same motors, same motor. Now we have one motor for a 3-inch. This is 1306, 3100 kV. So sometimes I might be able to use this. So if something broke or whatever. We got another pigtail in here with a different kind of connector. I like either one of those connectors. They're the same. I like those connectors. So we got our batteries. Our motors. Put those back over here. The frames. Got motors, and more motors. And that's not all the motors I got. Right now, I need 4 motors like this to put on that B-Fight later on today. And I'll be putting those DYS motors back in the fucking box. Any more motors I need? I don't think so. I think I got it covered. I need a bell for this motor. And that's it. Wow, that's a small motor. Goodness. So I got the motors I need. And in here we got Speedy B USB thing and another receiver. Oh, this is the one I was looking for here. This is the real grab bag right here. We got everything in here, starting with FPV cameras, VTXs, more VTXs. Try to keep all the VTXs in the same box. But this one, man, this is that Fort X stack VTX. I don't know if I should even just throw it away. It's so ugly and poorly designed. Ugh. And they overcomplicate it. I know that the HD thing is going to be complicated, but the antenna for the VTX was on the all-in-one flight controller. It just limits your options when you're trying to rebuild or replace. Why couldn't the antenna be on here? Or there's a backup spot to put one instead of how it is now. Where would you ever find another build that's like that? You know, that's what I'm still learning. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. So, I'm going to try to organize my shit a little better here. This box has a whole build in it, and it's got a receiver, frame, stack, everything in one to build one little 2-inch quadcopter. Then in this box, we have flight controllers. We've got an Aurora. That's all it says. An Aurora F4 Plus version 1. Then we've got is this the Omnibus F4? I think this is the Omnibus F4. It's either the Omnibus F4 or the Betaflight F4. So it's two F4 flight controllers in 30 millimeter size. This, another HDLRC flight controller. Flight controller. This, we got yet another HDLRC. I mean, this one is not HDLRC, but it's good quality. A good quality 20 millimeter flight controller, and another good quality 20 millimeter flight controller. The only thing about these things is they all have pins. All of these affordable little guys. They all have pins to connect the ESC to the flight controller. That, to me, that's a no-go. The no-go. I don't work for these guys. I don't have the access to their documents and shit. It just makes it harder to deal with down the road. This is a VTX. Put that in the VTX box. This, what the fuck? Oh, this is a flight controller from the Hawk 5, which is kind of a shame because it shows, like, why did they go so far out of their way to put pins all over this? And for me, it just caused me to fight the board so much when I was repairing it or trying to use it in a different capacity. Just changing the VTX on the Hawk 5 is unnecessarily difficult. There's no reason on earth to do this on a 5-inch. On a 3-inch, if you don't feel like innovating, feel a little bit lazy that day, just put a pin on. I can understand on 3 inches space is an issue. You know, I don't know. This is a flight controller. Now this is an ESC. Let's see, what is this? This is a flight controller. This, I think, is the Omnibus F4. And it has not pins, but it was soldered up and with connectors everywhere, which is just as fucking stupid. Anyway, that's a flight controller. Now, I'm not saying that the people who did it were stupid. I'm just saying the idea of doing it this way for convenience or whatever they did it for. It's like, damn, you're shortchanging the customer. And this is the Fort F4 flight controller that I was complaining about earlier. Didn't get too much use out of this piece of shit. None at all, actually. There's the goddamn antenna. And there's plenty of VTXs and camera systems that route through the flight controller. You know, but this is the weirdest way I've ever seen. It's not routing through so much. Why am I even talking about this? It's a flight controller. It goes in the flight controller pile. This is from the DYS Elf, and see, I like DYS because they in DYS and Holy Grove seem to do a pretty good job. They got this is I'm gonna separate this. This is a flight controller and an ESC. I never got around to doing that, so I'll just leave it over here with the flight controllers. This is an ESC. Where did I put the ESCs? I guess I don't have that many ESCs. We got only two. Wow. And another flight controller. This is the Holy Bro Kakute F4 version 1.4. A very, very good flight controller. I broke off a UART and bought a new one. I wish I still had the new one and the old one, but you can't have your cake and eat it too. This is the VTX that I've broken. It's a cheap copy of the VTX 03. I broke it because when I was ripping it out of the Hawk 5 that was in, or whatever it was in, I pulled the hot off. So we got no more hot. I just got to look at the wiring diagram and see where do I put the hot back on. There's space, I'm going to do that. This is a VTX. This is a, what the fuck is it? It's a run cam. A broken run cam. But, I'm going to keep it. I think I can fix this. This goes into the camera pile. And if I can separate this, it would make it a lot less likely to get broken, but of course I can't. So, I figure we'll put the cameras in here, because they have run out of space. Yeah, so the cameras fit real well in there. Let's see, camera parts, partial cameras. Okay. Found another VTX. And that is the spare that I can send out with the Real 5 for anybody who's interested. So now, I've got this box full of cameras. I'm going to put that back in here. And I'm going to swap around some of the rest of this stuff just so I can be a little more organized. This is not an easy thing. Not an easy thing at all. So, I'm just going to dump this out here instead of looking for a box like a sensible person. And stick all my flight controllers in there. Put all of the nice, more expensive ones on top. Put all the cheap and dirty ones on the bottom. Alright, that looks good. Where's the box? Shit. Put that down there. We got our cameras. Now we've got our whatever it's flight controller. And moving right along. This is part of the frame, but it is. It's not broken. Okay. Alright. All the hardware needs to go somewhere else because the hardware does not belong in here. And also the wire harnesses, and we got a single receiver in here. I'll put the harnesses up there. And the hardware. Alright. This little interesting piece of kit. It's a battery tester. We got a lead there and a power charger for LiPos that I don't use anymore, really. Alright, it's hardware that can go up there. This is trash. I've only got 2 ESCs, which is kind of shocking. I thought I had more. I know I have a whole nother stack over there, and the 3 stacks are incomplete builds right now. So, looking for a place to stash these things. I see. Okay, well, the VTXs need a bigger box. Not that much bigger. We'll go with. No, they do need a bigger box. Just need a slightly bigger box, not that much bigger. Okay, well, I'm wasting too much time here, so we'll just go ahead and put it in this giant box here. This is where I'm putting my VTXs. Keep the hardware from going anywhere like that. Lots and lots of VTXs. And that's all that goes in there. I didn't really need to leave pigtails, but with this one, it's fine. Because that R. Charles one, that's my next big build right there. I'm planning on using that VTX in my next big build. So yeah, and that goes in there, but we probably should swap that around because it's too big. But the only thing left is the ESCs, and there's only 2 of those, so I'm just going to cram those in this little tiny box. Oh, okay, no I'm not. I'm cramming in this little tiny box. And there you have it. A couple of ESCs. Put that in there. And these little interesting things now. I don't want to handle these. These neat little motor wire treatments, you know, they got them in braided and rubber looking and all different kinds of shit. So here I got 2 sets, I got 8 of these. One is black and one is blue. Got a little bit of colorful hardware, but none of this shit is important, so I'm just going to throw all this into a single generic, you know, hardware, whatever, lost and found, and hopefully would be super nice. Yeah, I have to reclaim this from the ESCs as if it had a lid, you know? You can't beat that. You know, a spare parts box with a lid, my goodness. I'm in love. So I'll just put that in the same place where it was. And now, I still need one for the ESCs. This one went for the VTXs, which is way too big. This one went for the flight controllers, which is just perfect size for what I got here. I just need one more box for these, but for now, I'll just put them in there by themselves. And then we've got these treatments, which I can put in there. Just hoping to grow my collection over time. Let's stick that on the side there. Now that's organized, right? The hardware can stay, and I don't, you know, the wire harnesses and the hardware can stay. I don't think I need to put anything else in there. So it went from a box of just whatever to like, that's what's up. So that's nice and neat. My electronics box, and Also got the motors box and the shit that doesn't work boxes on the floor. Yeah. So on the bottom we got brand new motors. Then we got electronics, frames, used motors, and what is this? Specialty accessories. Yeah. Very nice indeed. I'll keep these over here. Just don't stack them. Alright, we got one more box of parts. Oh, my all too important XM Plus and also some BTX antennas. Very important box right here. To keep all of our important boxes in an important looking area, you know. I think that's prominent on the desk. Yeah, I can deal with that. Of course, I'm OCD and I'll be here all day moving these boxes around a few inches. But I've learned how to stop doing that, so fuck that. Alright. I think that we're making some kind of progress here. I do want to go flying, so I'm going to do that now and postpone all the rest of this stuff. First, I'm going to smoke. So, pardon me. Let's watch the Kia Rio thing. No, I've already seen this one.
So, g'day, Stu from UAV Futures here in today.
I see the one where he
This is
did
what we've been waiting for to check out this bad boy, I should say. This is the part 2 review of Korea Rare's TT. You can watch part 1, that's where we looked at the bench, breakdown, the text and the specs, but this is the fun stuff. We've got this little 3-inch pocket rocket. It should be absolute madness. Some crazy coggy motors on here. So let's do it. Let's take it out to the field, fly it around, and find out how does this thing go. Because in the past, Korea Rare has done some really cool stuff. So let's see how they go with their 3-inch version. And also head over to Grumpy Trade himself and maybe Crash Test Carl if he's waking up in time. And possibly hit it with the speed gun and see how this thing goes. So let's do it. Go have some fun with the Korea Rare TT. In 3, 2, 1. Want to see what I've got in my shirt? Out here in the field, we're going to check out Korea Rare's TT. I've got it in the 3-inch configuration because it's got some heavy duty. These motors are absolutely insane. 1507s, the coggiest motors I've ever seen. You can even hear it. Like, it is going to be ridiculous. We'll put it through its paces. It's a little bit windy here today. Show you some DVR. Then we'll head over to GT himself.
I think I'm going to do the Baby Hawk R3 this fine cloudy afternoon because it's resilient to rain. It doesn't have shit for a BTX, but I'm going to just fly around in the course in the backyard instead of going all around like I normally do. I'm going to go outside to do it.
Take it easy here, but when you drop the hammer, look at that for a little 3-inch, it absolutely disappears, punches a hole in the sky. The TT, and then we'll head over to Crash Test Carl, and then we'll also hit
So we need
speed guns. So let's do it.
goggles and a Tyrannus.
3, 2, 1, tick!
Where are my fucking goggles? Oh shit. Oh. There's my fucking goggles. Get up there. Stay up there. Oh, that's not. Alright, so we got goggles, antennas, everything we need. So just bear with me. Or maybe I should just cut the feed and go on. Oh, about my day. I wouldn't mind if the feed's on all day and I'm just doing my business. And, you know, you can watch it now, later, or never. It's all up to you. Yeah, this tape is getting a little ragged here. But it's been a while since I've flown this one. Before I fly it, I gotta figure out the goddamn VTX. Might as well watch a video about that when I'm done.
Okie dokie, here we go. And the first thing I want to show around on the
Yeah, I gotta cut this shit up. I can't be just watching somebody scream, you know. So I will see you guys shortly. When I get my flight shit set up and I'm ready to go fly, then I will record again. Deal? Cool, man.